Welcome to the Forward Focus Flashcast. If you're joining for the first time, we're honored you're here. And if you're returning, welcome back. At Forward Focus, we've designed episodes with quick tips that you can implement right away to become a better and more well-rounded leader. And in today's episode, we're talking about one of my favorite business books, business and life books, The One Thing. And specifically, we're going to talk about the 7 circles or 7 areas of your life and how you can get the most out of each area. Well, let's dive in. So there's different areas in life that we aim to excel in, right? And in The One Thing, in chapter 10, page 114 specifically, there's a really nice visual diagram on the 7 circles or the 7 areas of life. And Gary Keller and Jay Papasan wrote this book years ago now about focusing on your one thing that would make everything else easier or even unnecessary, right? So the 7 areas are your job, your finances, your personal growth, so relationship with yourself, relationships with others, physical, spiritual, in business. To set this up and frame it, what I want to do today is I'm going to share with you my 7 circles for 2022. And I'm just going to be vulnerable and kind of peel back the onion layers a little bit and kind of show you how my thought process was in developing these areas. So for example, if there was a client I was working with and she rated her sales month as a 9 out of 10. And she was so proud of that and we celebrated that. And after about 10 minutes into our coaching session, I said, okay, well, what suffered for you to be able to have a 9 out of 10, 10 being the best in business? And she kind of sat back and she was floored. And then she goes, you know what? My faith, my spirituality. I didn't go to church at all last month. And I said, so where would you rank that? And she says, probably a 2 out of 10. And I said, is that you living your fullest life? And she said, no. And I said, okay, so what needs to happen this month for that to become at least a 5 out of 10? And so the call to action was to go to church at least twice, right? And meditate and reflect every day. So just a little maybe thought-provoking intro or start to this actual exercise for you to think about, like, when you're crushing in one area, where are we dropping the ball? I mean, maybe you're going on great date nights with your spouse and your relationship's been better than ever. But maybe because you're going out so much and you're having that extra glass of wine or that, restaurant quality, salty, buttery food, you gained 8 pounds in the last 2 months. Is that really your peak physical self, right? So we'll jump into this. So here's the 7 circles. I review this on a monthly basis. I just look at it, I tweak it, I adjust it based on where I am in relation to my goal. And it's a living and breathing document that stays with me. And typically at the end of each year, I'll start to think about the next year and how my circles need to be adjusted for bigger or longer term goals. So for my job, right? I have multiple jobs. I'm sure a lot of our listeners have multiple jobs, especially if you're entrepreneurial in spirit and are pulled in different directions, wear different hats. So what I wrote out for my job to be a 10 out of 10 was that I would plan out my week, and every Sunday I'd set small goals to domino into my bigger goals, and I'd have weekly accountability meetings with my key team members, and I have those team members listed out. And in those weekly accountability meetings, in my role, my job is to manage and hold accountable the actions of others. Okay, that's just one of the main roles of what I do. So in those accountability meetings, they have measurables that they have to be hitting, and I coach them and guide them around hitting them or not and what we need to do differently to excel, right? So that's my job. That's my one thing for the job, and I focus on it. And the takeaway there is every Sunday, I'm reviewing my calendar. I'm making sure that I have the right appointments on my calendar and that I'm prepared for these one-on-one meetings. Financially. So I made a commitment in 2022 to save a minimum of 15% of my income for the year toward retirement and to purchase the second investment property for my wife and I. So I'm thrilled to say earlier this year, I did purchase a a second investment property. So we have a couple now in the rental portfolio, and we are tracking year to date at 17.2% savings, right? So it's again, a measurable, it's something that I put into place last year. To give you an example of how this changed, I had have one rental property, right? My first investment property, and save 5% for retirement. So you can see how over time this has evolved, right? So that's the financial area. And if I'm doing that on a monthly basis or an annualized basis, that's a 10 out of 10 for my financial area. Personal. Read 24 books in 2022. Take 4 trips with people I love, and go camping 3 times. I need to take time away from my businesses, or I just continue to work. Some people call that a workaholic. For me, yeah, I'll acknowledge I have some work-life balance opportunity there. I would also say that it's my passion, right? And I don't even realize it's just on, and it's always on. And so for me, this was really cool because those 24 books, only 12 of them could be business or leadership related, and the other needed to be fiction, right? So I've read 9, so I'm a little bit behind goal. I'm on my 10th book right now. My favorite has been Green Lights. I've read that. I read that once last year, and I've reread it again this year. So notice I didn't say read 24 new books, right? I said read 24 books in 2022. Take 4 trips with loved ones. So in January, my brother got married to his beautiful wife in Brazil. So we took a dream vacation as a family, which was just incredible. And we're going to Disneyland in October. We're taking my little niece to Disneyland. She'll be 5. So, we have that booked. And then I've been up to Traverse City and just got back from Tennessee as well. So you can see right there. And we have New Orleans planned in December because my awesome wife, is turning 30. And so the whole family is going to celebrate in New Orleans for New Year's. So that would be the 4th trip. So again, just quantifying it and be able to look at it. For me, if I don't book a trip, I don't go on it, right? And I look up and it's been 2 years since a vacation. And then lastly, camping 3 times. I separate camping from traveling or a trip because I feel like camping for me is more about becoming one with nature and truly unplugging, and hiking or running or fishing or kayaking. So I've actually camped 3 times already, and I'm camping 1 more time in the next month. So I'll actually exceed that goal. So, okay, again, personal. There's some reading in there. There's some traveling with loved ones in there, and there's some me time connecting with nature. For me, that's important. The 4th area or circle is relationships. So watch how specific and granular I get on this, because it's easy to just say like, oh, I'm going to go on date nights. Oh, I'm going to hang out with my friends, right? But watch this. And this is my challenge to you on the relationships one. Weekly date nights. So that tells me 4 times in a month. And weekly friend or family dinner. So here's the thing. If Haley and I, my wife, go on a date, right? That still gives me permission to do a double date with her and my friends too. So now I kind of sneak in 2 dates with Haley that week. I think it's really important. I noticed I struggled with having weekly family dinners. It was like another thing to do. And I realized I only had so much time with my family left, right? Before maybe my family changes or my family grows. So by doing that weekly, either having dinner or lunch or even a friend coffee catch up, right? My relationships with people in my world have been richer, and I've been happier in 2022. And I think part of the reason why that became my relationship goal for this year, transparently, is because coming out of 2020 and 2021 with COVID, I craved relationships in a way that I didn't realize I needed. So again, quantifying your relationships and being able to put a number around that activity, you'll feel the fulfillment and happiness later as you're doing it. Physical. For physical, 60 miles a month walking or running, 10 push-ups every day, strength or circuit training 3 times a week, and end 2022 at a weight of 195. So I'm about 45% of goal on the running and walking, so a little bit behind again. But I tend to do better in the non-summer months of Michigan. Our summer is so short, excuse me, that, I got to get my camping trips and other things done then. So I know I'll make up the running and walking. I've been doing the 10 push-ups a day. It's very simple for me, and I have noticed a difference. I feel better. And then going 3 times a week, I actually had to build out a home gym to help make this goal happen. So sometimes you set a goal and then there's other goals you have to make happen to achieve that. So I just have a little treadmill and some dumbbells at home and a weighted bar. And then I joined a local gym here that I'm at least 2 days a week. So usually 2 days there and then 1 day at home. And the rest of it is running or doing the push-ups. So again, just for me, that's incremental progress. I'm not going to go run a marathon necessarily. Yet for me to feel good about my physical peak, by the end of this year, if I do those things and finish at 195, 10 out of 10. Spiritual. This one I notice in clients I work or coach with, they struggle with this one because we all define spirituality a little differently. And I just want to say that's okay. For me, spirituality is saying a prayer of gratitude every morning. My mindset has improved so much this year just by starting my day with gratitude. And I'm thankful for that. Reflecting and meditating on where I'm called to be or go next and journaling those thoughts down. So usually about once a week, I'll just kind of reflect and meditate on how's my week been? Where did I win? Where did I lose? And what do I want to do differently? Or how do I become 1% better next week? And then lastly, listening for clarity. And so specifically on this, I've written down when people give me feedback, sometimes it's easy to be like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what I'm going through. Okay, great. Thank you. And you just kind of nod and smile, but you don't actually apply it. And so I've been listening this year for when people give me feedback or they take the time out of their day to give me criticism, really listening for what they're trying to say and repeating it back to them to make sure I understand. And that's helped me in my communication. And it's helped me in my communication with myself too, my self-talk, my meditation. So my spirituality has improved by praying every day, reflecting and meditating on a regular weekly basis, and then listening for clarity. So for me, that's how I defined a 10 out of 10 in 2022 for my spirituality. And then lastly, the 7th circle is business. Now, some people say, isn't business basically job or finance? No, it's separate, right? You can start a business and not be there every day running the business if you have employees running it. You could have multiple businesses. You could have jobs within those businesses. So be careful on how you define business versus job versus finance. For me, it was difficult to wrap my head around that. But by reading page 114, and there's some focusing questions on those pages around 114, it helped me understand and navigate job, finance, business. So I wanted to say that too, because you got to crawl, then walk, then run, right? So for 2022 in my business for Forward Focused, there's different businesses I'm a part of, but I got really specific on Forward Focused. It was to hire 5 one-on-one coaching clients by the end of the first quarter. I didn't do that. I didn't get my 5th coaching client in 2022 until the middle of the second quarter. There was different circumstances slowing that growth. And I reviewed it every month and I'm like, all right, I missed that goal, but it doesn't mean I still can't do it, right? And now I'm happy to say that we have a waiting list for clients that we're vetting and going through. And we're super excited about the trajectory Forward Focus is heading because we know we can impact more and more clients as we continue to grow what we're doing and grow our mission. So the other goal is to hire the first coach in Forward Focused. We had a couple candidates we talked to, and we've yet to expand the Forward Focused coaching roster. However, I do have a venture with another coaching company. In the real estate company I run, Keller Lakeside, there's a team of 4 coaches. I'm one of 4, and we have a roster of clients. So again, I'm focusing on the progress, maybe not the perfection of the outcome, but we have grown our coaches, and I think Forward Focus will continue to grow as an outcome of that too. And so then the final item I have here is have 15 clients, one-on-one clients with John by the end of the year. So I think we're on pace to have 10 clients by the middle of quarter 3. So it's absolutely achievable to have 15 clients, another 5 clients come aboard between now and the end of the year. So it's fun to revisit that, right? It's because you can only improve what you measure. And so if you notice, every single one of these, job, financial, personal relationships, physical, spiritual, and business, they have numbers tied to it. They have call to actions tied to it. And I'm able to adjust it appropriately to either accelerate toward or move away and towards a different goal. The simple thing to take from this is this: written down, living, breathing document that you can revisit on a regular basis, not only for yourself or your spouse, but for the people in your organization and on your team. Help them be a 10 out of 10 in every one of these areas, and you'll be amazed at how much the work for, through, and toward the goals that you're setting for you and your organization. So the call to action on this is, if you want to embrace the 7 circles and start to level up your life and business, I encourage you to pick up a copy of The One Thing. And there's some focusing questions around page 114 in chapter 10 that help you get more granular in each of these areas. And so schedule that in your calendar in the next couple of weeks to make sure that you revisit those pages, ask yourself those questions, and begin to work. And of course, feel free to reach out if there's anything we at Forward Focus can do to help make this easier for you and get it into action. If you found value in today's content, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss a lesson to be the leader that you deserve to be. And until next time, lead on.